Hello and welcome to The Frame. We start this week with a continuation of school budget talks for the 2027 fiscal year as financial officials with the Framingham City Council and Framingham Public Schools held a joint meeting on Tuesday, January 27th. It was the latest round of talks as leaders look to bridge a gap between FPS's initial budget request of around $198 million and a target of about $190 million based on financial projections coming into the city's school district. This week, Governor Maura Healey unveiled her statewide budget recommendation for the upcoming fiscal year. It featured just over $93 million in aid through the Chapter 70 school funding program for FPS, a relatively minor increase from the $92.5 million Framingham got through Chapter 70 in FY26. Much of that figure has to do with the fact that the local school district has seen a total enrollment drop of almost 700 students in the last 16 months. In turn, school leaders have considered layoffs to develop a balanced budget, though many folks in the community have spoken out about that idea in recent weeks. A total of 116 positions have been mulled for cuts, though a counter-proposal was outlined on Tuesday by FPS Superintendent Dr. Robert Tremblay. Simply put, by now projecting that over $1 million would be provided to Framingham schools by the federal government, an idea that had not been considered certain previously, local officials hope to preserve dozens of positions in programming like language and performing arts. Nearly 100 other salaries could still be on the chopping block, however. Executive Director of Finance and Operations for the school district, Lincoln Lynch, did note this strategy could put a balanced budget in jeopardy.
Now, if we do not get that federal funding for FY27, that leaves us $1.2 million short, and that's the risk.
During Tuesday's meeting, District 4 City Council member Michael Cannon lamented that FPS officials have not found staffing efficiencies at a larger scale to save money, pointing to the size of the school district's current administration and adding that he might be having a quote-unquote crisis of confidence in Dr. Tremblay. The superintendent replied that it's the district's responsibility to develop a balanced budget through an analysis of course enrollment and district-wide positions, including those within the central office.
I'm stunned that now we're talking about fine and performing arts cuts and Mandarin and things that are classroom facing and making a difference. And I just question your leadership there.
But it's important to understand that we didn't do this arbitrarily or in the dark of night or with any guesswork. This is the first time in recent fiscal history that we've gone to a point where we've had to go to the school level. And why is that? Because we have 700 less students in our schools.
Mayor Charlie Sositsky said on Tuesday that he may invoke a part of the home rule charter that can delay budget proceedings in order to collect more information and take more time to develop a final plan. District 8 Council member John Stefanini made a motion this week to have local legislators recommend that delay to all budget-related deadlines by 30 days during the City Council's full meeting next Tuesday, February 3rd. Elsewhere on the topic of the FY27 budget, preliminary talks were recently held between City Council members and multiple department heads. Framingham's Building Commissioner Fred Bray and Human Resources Director Kathy O'Leary outlined their initial pitches during the City Council Finance Subcommittee's meeting on Thursday, January 22nd. Bray requested about $1.4 million for personnel within the building department, along with $68,000 for operations. He told local legislators that within the next year, a level-funded budget, meaning the same amount of money offered in FY26 would be provided in FY27, would cut operational costs by close to $7,000. However, he added that would still result in a deficit of around $23,000 for the department, meaning a leveled budget could result in a personnel cut, according to Bray. As for Human Resources, O'Leary requested a $15,000 increase, which would result in an FY27 budget worth around $615,000. She noted that insurance benefit contributions on the city's end could go up in the upcoming fiscal year. Stefanini requested that a deeper discussion on benefits should be held in the future. The demolition of a building on the corner of Concord and Danforth Streets could pave the way for a renovation of Saxonville's McGrath Square. For years, the idea of changing the area by Concord, Elm, Central, and Danforth Streets on Framingham's north side has been considered. District 2 City Councilor Brandon Ward told The Frame that the plan is to develop new streets, crosswalks, sidewalks, and lights around that intersection to improve aspects of day-to-day life, like local commerce and overall safety.
There's a lot of great small businesses there that we want to support and ensure people are safe traveling through there.
To do so, local officials are considering the demolition of the building at 1639 Concord Street. From there, that stretch of Danforth Street would be shifted north to create a new configuration with Central Street. That property on Concord is currently owned by Charlotte Maynard, who also owns the neighboring Saxonville Mills. She and municipal leaders are in talks for the city to acquire that property, according to Ward, though it's unclear if the transaction would be done purely through money or if there would be land exchanges involved. A total of $12.7 million for the McGrath Square renovation is included in the DPW's recommendations for Framingham's capital budget plan for the 2027 fiscal year. Ward is urging colleagues to act soon before the project's price tag continues to grow.
That dollar amount is way higher than it was 1 year, 2 years, 5 years ago, and so I hope we don't kick this can any further down the road.
In the meantime, there are still multiple regulatory tasks to check off before the building at 1639 Concord can be knocked down. Ward hopes that the demolition can be done within the next month or two before a formal design for the plan in Saxonville could potentially be presented to the public in the spring. More details on that McGrath Square project story and all of the top stories we cover every week on the show can be found at www.theframe.news, the online home for The Frame's local coverage. We've got full written articles, feature pieces completed across the city, and a calendar filled with upcoming community events. Make sure that you're subscribed to our email newsletter too, so that you're always connected with Framingham News in Focus. The final totals are in from this past weekend storm as Framingham saw 18 to 19 inches of snow. Mayor Sisitsky told residents during the city council's meeting on Tuesday that while sidewalks continue to be cleared, those who live near fire hydrants should clear 2 feet in all directions as well as a path to the street for access to that equipment. As for the cost of the storm, Sisitsky said preliminary reports point to a price tag of about $500,000. He told city councilors that the most recent storm, on top of icing incidents during the winter, have nearly exhausted the city's roughly $1.6 million snow and ice budget. With more snow possibly on the horizon for this upcoming weekend, he advised local legislators that Framingham could either be in a spending deficit or an additional appropriation may be proposed. As of the time of this recording, the National Weather Service projects high winds, but a roughly 50% chance of snow in the area on Sunday, February 1st. So make sure that you're prepared for whatever might happen over the weekend. On top of all that, local drivers on Route 9 experienced traffic delays on Wednesday thanks to damage to telephone poles and overhead wires the night before. At around 7:30 Tuesday night, a transformer blew along Worcester Road. Utility crews were called upon to make repairs, a process that took hours. Route 9 was closed both ways between Concord Street and Calder Road. The nomination window for this year's Senior Heroes Awards is drawing to a close. The annual event honors the contributions of Framingham residents aged 60 and above who make a difference locally. Awards are given out to those who work within culture and the arts, along with social development, health, and public service. Nominations for the Senior Heroes Awards are being accepted by the Framingham Council on Aging through 11:59 p.m. on Monday, February 9th. For more details, visit framinghamma.gov/Senior Heroes Awards. Again, that's framinghamma.gov/Senior Heroes Awards. And finally this week, a preview of our latest Frame by Frame segment. This past Wednesday, January 28th, marked the 40th anniversary of the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. About a minute after taking off in Florida that morning for a mission in 1986, Challenger broke apart. 7 people were killed as a result of the tragedy, including a school teacher, Christa McAuliffe, who was a Framingham native. In turn, community members and groups, including those at her alma mater, Framingham State University, have continued to honor McAuliffe's memory and carry out her mission of education.
And the winner, the teacher who will be going into space, Christa McAuliffe.
Christa's legacy is both visible in the names that we see on our buildings, but it goes deeper than that. Christa's legacy is about believing in ourselves and achieving things even when things feel impossible or too difficult to do, and to really reach for the stars, as she often encouraged her students to do.
It would be easy to say, oh yeah, you promote STEM education, you do engaging programs, which obviously we want to do. But I think Christa really meant more than that. So I was really focusing on education as a tool, a powerful tool to change a person's life and change entire communities. She really believed in the power of education to transform for the better individuals and communities.
You can find more of our frame-by-frame coverage by visiting our social media pages. Follow @FrameNews_ on Instagram and search for The Frame on Facebook, too. Subscribe to Access Framingham's YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we publish new content. We post full Frame episodes for you to listen to or watch on Spotify as well. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. For our entire team here at The Frame, thanks for joining us. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.